What is going on?
Oh my God.
Hi. Welcome to the Miller Time Podcast.
People of color redefining success.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Hope y'all had a good week. It's Monday. You know what that means? Hashtag Miller Mondays.
Oh, I was like, what does it mean?
Come on. My wife ain't with me, but y'all with me. Y'all sitting in the car like, we know what you talking about, Pat. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Y'all got my back. Well, welcome to a special episode. I'm doing great. It's been a long week, but you know, we back at it again, right?
We're back.
Again. And so I hope y'all doing well. I hope that y'all week is great. I hope that you're getting ready for work, about to kill it. Whatever you're doing, whether you're on the East Coast. I said it before. I was like, we're going to have some listeners in the UK. And guess what? We got a listener in the UK. It's one. But you out there. You out there. I appreciate your love and support. I don't know who you are, but send us something.
Yeah.
Say what's up. All right. I know y'all hear that laugh over there on the side.
Yeah.
We got a special guest all the way from Jamaica.
Where? Kingston. Yeah.
From Kingston, Jamaica.
Kingston,
Spanish
town.
The brother,
Yeah.
the brethren.
Oh my God.
We've got a special guest today. I'm going to let you introduce him.
Today we have the one and the only Akeem Allen coming all the way from the East Coast to the best coast. The West.
Best Coast. Yeah. Akeem, what's your middle name? Tyrone? Jerome?
Anthony.
Oh, you're AAA.
3 A's, yeah.
Dang,
Wow.
3 A's, triple A.
Yup.
Oh, I love that, Anthony.
Man.
Yeah, I used to get all types of AAA battery jokes. All types of, oh, you got a lot of energy, huh? And
The
I'm like,
juice.
bruh.
Wow, I didn't
AAA.
know that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, pleasure to be here with y'all. Definitely pleasure to be here. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome to just be here and, been listening in, and it's cool to just, be here to be able to chat with, some of the listeners, and, they're all over the place. And so it's cool to be here to share some of my story and just be here chopping it up with y'all.
Yeah. Well, can you start us off with telling us who you are, what you do, what's your why, all of it?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, for me, like I said, originally from Spanish Town, Jamaica. I grew up though in Hartford, Connecticut. Small community called Blue Hills. Actually is the largest community of Jamaicans outside of Jamaica.
Wow.
And so just like, out here in the Bay, you have, you got a taqueria and a burrito spot on every corner. It's like that in Hartford, but for Jamaican food. Yeah. And so, so for me coming out here was definitely a struggle, cause I'm not close to, as much food from home, but
Jamaican jerk chicken,
all of that,
right?
Hey, but you know what? I'm grateful though, because my mom made sure that I knew how to cook before I left. So grew up in Hartford all my life. Raised by a single mother. I have two siblings. Both are older than me. I'm the youngest, and so it was almost like growing up with three parents. In a sense, and so grew up just kind of like just grew up watching them and like gleaning a lot of wisdom from their lived experiences, and just ended up going to going to school in Connecticut all my life. I actually went to a magnet school called Pathways, and that's really kind of how I started to get involved in the tech space and design and understanding even what it means to be an entrepreneur. Because a lot of the times, like you have access to if you have access to tools like, say, a computer or software like Photoshop or whatever, then you could easily start a business, right? Like you could make logos for people. You could like design flyers or whatever the case may be. If you don't have that resource, then it's really hard to start that business. And so I was definitely fortunate enough and really just kind of I had that brace because my brother actually went to this high school. And then, that's how I found out about it. And, you had to apply and like do a lottery to get in. But, this high school was super dope. It was like a STEM academy. So like all of the classes, had some kind of component, of technology in it. So in my English class, I was like posting, doing posts on Moodle with my classmates, or in my math class, I would like be making models with like software and stuff. And so it's just, that was like my first exposure to software and technology. And, I was just like poking around on computers and phones too. I mean, I still have an Android phone to this day because, back in the day I used
flexibility.
Flexibility. I used to always root my phones. Like, I couldn't stand iPhone because it was just like, everything's in a box. You know what I mean? You get it
locked in.
Yeah, you super locked in. And so, I was always one to kind of just like appreciate accessibility and
I know
and,
all
and
the
openness.
iPhone haters right now listening.
Oh,
like,
I mean, shit, I know they booing me right now.
They turning on the podcast. All right, so all you Android listeners still here.
Hey, it's all love though. I got my Mac here. I got my MacBook.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm riding with y'all a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
I got some things right.
Yeah, a few things.
Right.
And so I tell that story to say like, one of the things I really got into in high school, was music, because my school had a full production studio, available to us. And so, after school, you knew where to find me. I was in the studio, like we're recording music, we're recording albums, doing mixtapes, working with, singers and rappers and producers, and it was just an awesome experience. And to me, was really kind of my first experience of just like, seeing how, technology could be used to really positively impact, the lives of young people of color in particular. Instead of being out on the street, like we were in the studio, you know what I mean? And so, that was super impactful for me. Fast forward, went to Babson College, studied entrepreneurship up there. Really got, the most important thing there is just like, Babson was my gateway to seeing the world. And so I hadn't really traveled before I went to college. Then, after my first year at Babson, I was exposed to just so many different people. There were people on campus who were like, you walk by and like hear somebody, speaking in Chinese, and just it's like, it's just another day, someone speaking Spanish over there, like so on and so forth. So it's just like bombarded with, all these different cultures, and it was super cool for me. But then I had an opportunity to go on a missions trip to South Africa after my first year, and that was a super transformative experience. Really kind of propelled me into education, propelled me into working with just young people in general, and just like falling in love with seeing our young people empowered, and given access to all the tools they need to thrive. And so that was like my first trip going outside of the United States, and like seeing, and South Africa was super dope for me because it's like it's a country where a majority of the people are black. You know what I mean? And so that experience alone was just
to be in
a
space like that where you're like, yo, it's all black people here, right?
That was so eye-opening for me because I mean, growing up in America, it's like, okay, we are the people who are on the sidelines. We're quote unquote minorities, like so on and so forth. But then being in a space where you are the majority, like that is just so empowering in itself. And so for me, and honestly, like one of the things I would always recommend to people of color who are here in America, like black people in particular, is to like go to Africa. Like go to Africa, like yes, go to Africa because they want us to come home. They want us to come and experience what our roots are. And it's a lot of the things that we have access to out here, and a lot of the resources that we can tap into here, they unfortunately can't out there. And so we have a lot of value to bring to the continent. And that kind of pushes me into really talking about some of the work I do with Nile Studio now, because I believe that, there is, ever since, we as Black people touched down in North America.
All right, hold on.
Oh, am I jumping forward too fast? All right, wait.
I appreciate the
let me
juice,
pull back.
though.
All right,
Slow
okay.
down.
Let me pull back.
I want to say, I want to first talk about, how we first met you, because I think we first met you at Shiloh Church. Actually, I remember it was a Sunday, and
Taylor.
Yeah,
September.
It was a Sunday. You know the date, huh?
I think it was September 23rd.
It was the first day of Coco Play My Life.
Yeah, for Dream Team.
It was the first day, first day Dream Team.
Yeah, so it was a Sunday morning. We was at church and we was chilling, and next thing you know, Taylor came up and was like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to somebody," and so she brought y'all over to us. She brought you over to us and was like, "Hey, this is Akeem." And I remember you were talking. You was talking to Courtney for a minute, and so y'all was chopping up, and I came in and started talking. And you were talking about your work and everything you do. That you do human design, and at that point, I didn't know what that meant. I was like,
"You design
you do human design. Okay, you design people. You working for God?" But yeah, I remember having that conversation, and I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, let's check it out. Why don't you come hang out with us at the Young Adults at Wednesday, but also come check us out at Dream Team. And I remember you was like, yeah, let's have a conversation. And so I remember having you into the space and realizing that you were I would say a young dude who was in a space of his life where it was yeah, you're young, but you have a drive already. And I think that was unique to see as somebody. I didn't know your age, but I could tell that you were oh, he's a young, cool little dude. He probably a cool little dude. He probably a cool dude that probably been out of college for a couple of years or so. But I'm but he's got some passion. I was he should come check out Dream Team. And so having you in that space with all these other people who are hey, I want to pursue my dreams. Hey, I want to create an extraordinary life for myself. I want a brace of people who are going to surround me and support me and be intentional about seeing me pushing me towards success. Having you in that space, I was yo, this dude Keem is he's another level. He's not at a level. What are you, 23
now?
23.
Oh my
my birthday's in a couple weeks. My birthday's on November 8th, everybody. So
Word.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So
24.
So that was in September?
Yeah, last year.
So you were 22, 21?
I was 22 when I met you.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So 22 and an entirely different level than any 22 you've been on. I work with 24-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 26-year-olds who probably don't have the same level to be I'm trying to be intentional. But I remember there was something specific you told me. You said, I'm trying to connect with Black business owners, and I want to see if we can create some type of trade and service where we can support each other, because I really want to see Black businesses thriving.
Yeah.
And that was something that was huge, because I think you haven't necessarily hit that just yet, said that yet in the conversation.
I know, you kind of stole my thunder just
my
now.
bad.
It's cool.
But you started,
it's cool. Hey, it's fun.
You started jumping into what you was doing right now.
It's cool, I could tell my story in many different ways.
I love it. But I wanted the people to hear why you do what you do, because I think that's what you're talking about, going home and seeing our people and doing all this stuff is man, all right, this dude is passionate about something very, very specific. And so, we met you, and that was I didn't mean to steal your why.
Yeah, no.
Share your why. But
please.
Yeah.
No, I want to build off of that, because, when I got to give more context, because, when I met y'all, I was probably a year in the Bay Area already, but I hadn't quite found my people, you know what I'm saying? And so I was Backtrack. So after I finished up at Babson, I actually moved out to the Bay Area to work full time at a startup. And probably about 6 months passed. Things just did not work out. So I was out here, I had no job. And actually that winter break, I had to go home and explain to my family why I wasn't gonna move home. Oh. You know what I mean? And that was one of the hardest things I had to do, because I moved out here on faith. I saw what was out here. And this honestly, this is why I love the story of how God told Moses to send out the spies into the promised land to see what was out there, because I feel that's my story. I feel I was sent out here to see what was available, but then at the same time, I had to hold fast to my faith and say, like,
respond
even though
what you saw.
Right, exactly. I had to respond to what I saw, because, like, even though things were not turning out the way that I had imagined in my mind, I knew that I was out here for a purpose. You know what I mean? And so so I came back that January, and I bought a car. I started driving for Lyft. I started driving for Uber. I started driving Postmates. I started driving for Amazon. I was grinding.
Wow.
So I did that for probably about 4 or 5 months. And, meanwhile, I was applying to jobs, mostly looking at design stuff. And nothing was really cracking. And I was just like, there's something that there's something that's missing. And at that time, I was very independent. I was going to a church, and I was outside of the church. I was like in and out. And so I was like, man, like, I need to really just kind of get set back in the right direction. And so around that time, or I mean, even before then, I had ideas around Nile and what it would look like to have a platform that was dedicated to promoting Black-owned businesses, right? Because we have the highest spending power, something like $1.5 trillion in spending power, which is the most of any ethnic group in the entire country. But at the same time, the circulation of our dollar is only, 0 to I mean, not even 0. I think it's like 6 hours.
No way.
So like a dollar comes into our community for 6 hours before it leaves and goes out to another community.
Wow,
you know
crazy.
what I mean? Versus, the Asian community, it's like 20 something days.
Wow.
White community, it's like 20 something days, right? So like they're building up wealth while, we're, our dollar's not circulating. So I started to ask myself, why, why? Sorry,
That makes me want to cry.
Yeah, no, seriously, honestly, it does. And it brought me to a place where, I started thinking a lot about like how, and this isn't really until I met y'all and I started doing Dream Team, where I started to understand the story behind why what I'm doing is important to me. It's not just about the facts. It's not just about the the figures that I just shared, but I mean I saw it, I experienced it firsthand. I mean, my mom, she worked a minimum wage job. She worked at Whole Foods as a cashier for 14 years. Just grinding, putting in hours to put me and my siblings through school. And at the same time, she had the heart of an entrepreneur. She always loved, making her own teas and making her own spices and wanting to sell, but not necessarily knowing how to, wanting to build wealth for herself and for her family, but not necessarily knowing how to. And so there is the so there was that reality that I just grew up observing my mom doing that. And I realized that she lacked the guidance and she lacked the resources to actually make her dream come true.
Wow.
And so for me, everything that I've been doing from going to Pathways, going to Babson, going to South Africa, coming here to the West Coast, failing a lot along the way, starting Nile Studio, which is design and innovation firm for Black-owned businesses, just so y'all know.
Yeah, just so you know. Say it again. What's the name of it?
It's called Nile Studio.
Nile Studio.
Yeah,
Whoa, Nile. Where does that come from?
Nile is like the river in Africa.
The river in Africa.
Yeah. So Nile, the Nile River is definitely one of the kind of hubs of agriculture and hubs of resources, all of that stuff, in the ancient world. And I believe that we have all of the resources that we need within our community, but we just need to begin to connect with one another in a way that is authentic, in a way that's genuine, in a way that's builds one another up instead of tearing each other down. And so all of what I've been doing and talking about is just kind of stems from that experience of just struggling, not necessarily having everything, but it's amazing because if I think about the people that I've surrounded myself with throughout my journey, like y'all, the people I've surrounded it was complete, it was divine that I even ended up at Shiloh.
Yeah.
I was wearing this hat
Really?
one day, walking down the street, and
Pray hat.
yeah, the pray hat, and I met Brenda. And Brenda was the one who was like, oh yeah, like, you know, we have a youth service, and I started coming to SYA, and then I met Taylor, then I met y'all, then I did Dream Team, and then you know what I mean. So things build.
The fact that you met another entrepreneur Black Christian on the street who was like, come to church, who introduced you to another Black entrepreneur
Christian, who then introduced you to
another Black, like, that's way more divine than, like, I think even you probably recognize, like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Serious.
Yeah. I think I want to respond to some things. Like, I heard, like, especially with the whole dollar thing, and about how in the Asian community the dollar stays there 25 days.
Yeah, something like that.
20. Yeah, like
20 something.
One, there's I would say there's some things about the Asian community that I've always, like, thought were super dope that I wish that we had more in the Black community. And, like, especially, like, the ability to just say, like, yo, my kids can stay here, they kids can stay here, aunties, nieces, and nephews can stay here. We'll build a house in the backyard. Y'all can stay here. We'll throw on another floor. Y'all can stay here until you save up enough money to be able to go buy you some property, and you do the same thing. I think that's something that, like, I haven't seen in the Black community a lot, where kids at the age of 18, 19 are still staying in the house. It's usually, like, either they're pushing themselves out because of, like, the standard, or the standard of society, or other people putting pressure on them, or their parents are like, you got to go. Like, you got to be out of my house. And so I think that's really amazing. And I know we only got you for a short while because you're on your way to a gala, right?
Yeah.
So I got a big question, or at least Courtney has a big question, and I want to know, before we get you out of here, and maybe if the fans like you, we'll have you back. But yeah, we definitely want to, before we move on, we definitely want to get you. We want to hear. We want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
Ready to be picked.
Okay.
Which part of BSPF has been most important to your success?
So you got BSPF, we got Brace, which is all about who you surround yourself with around the intentional community. Spark, which is about what you believe matters. And so being able to spark new beliefs or new ideas that can get you moving, or new empowering beliefs to get you moving. Purpose, what you do matters, and being able to understand the work that you do and how it impacts others. And then Flow, which is all about your strengths, tapping into your strengths, which is the most important of our success philosophy.
To me,
Yeah.
Brace.
Brace.
I say Brace because there's a number of there's this, not even a concept, but there's a reality that's in neuroscience that, you know, a lot of researchers did studies, and they were like, you know, why are people the way they are? Why do people do what they do? One of those reasons is because there are these things that we have in our brains called mirror neurons, and basically what mirror neurons are, that, like, they basically say that, like, if you see somebody doing something, or you're surrounding yourself with people who are doing a certain thing, you will start to do that as well. Like, those neurons will start to connect in your mind as well, even if you're not yet doing it, right? And so to me, that's like from a scientific standpoint, but then from an impact standpoint, like how it's impacted my own life, like I would not be where I am right now if it wasn't for the people that I've surrounded myself with. Period. Like, I mean, I could think as far back as high school, when actually my mentor was actually my sister's mentor. My sister's 10 years older than I am. She did a program called NIFTY, which stands for NFTE, Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, which is a nonprofit organization that was started in New York back in the 80s. There was a math teacher named Steve Mariotti, and he was teaching math, and he realized this inner city New York, so black kids, brown kids. He was teaching math, and he realized that none of his students were paying attention. None of them. Like, they weren't engaged. As soon as he started talking about money, as soon as he started talking about running your own business, everybody's ears perked up, right? And so he designed a curriculum and really a national organization around, how do we go into, low-income neighborhoods and schools and educate our young people on how to become owners, how to own their ideas, how to recognize opportunities, how to reframe their thinking from problem-based thinking to opportunity-based thinking, right? All of these ideas and concepts. And so my sister went through this program at Hartford High in 2002 or 2003. Wow. Then 10 years later, I went through that program at my high school, and we had the same teacher. And so that consistency, like, and this has actually come up for me in conversations a lot recently, is like, there's, especially when working with young people, and the work I do at Smash now is like super involved. We're serving over 1,000 young people across the country, equipping young people of color in STEM and college prep and professional development, all that stuff. And the two most important things are authenticity, right? Like young people can smell fakeness. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Like if you're being fake, it's like, yo, what are you doing? You wasting your time.
Phone
you phone, right? And the second thing is like consistency, right? Consistency matters. Like being able to see, that a teacher is there from one year to the next is so crucial, because there's a lot of stuff going on at home for our young people that are constantly in flux and changing. So like when you have that consistency, from an educational standpoint, it's like, yo, like this person really cares about me. And so that's how I felt about my mentor. His name is Mr. Griffin. And so I felt that way about Mr. Griffin, because he taught my sister, he mentored my sister, and then, he stayed on. He actually taught my brother too in the interim, because my brother, me and my brother went to the same school. And then he taught me. And so, I could think of Brace for sure, because, if it wasn't for Griffin, I wouldn't know what entrepreneurship is. I wouldn't know what Babson is. I wouldn't know. I came out here to the West Coast through a program at Babson, so I wouldn't have known what I mean. So like Brace, it's a chain effect. You know what I mean? Like you surround yourself with people who are invested in your success and invested in your dreams. Then that has a chain reaction, because that'll open doors. That'll open doors for you, and then you can go back and say, okay, like I remember that. I got help to get here, so I'm about to help some people and get them here too. And so by far, hands down, brace.
Wow.
Well, I want to kind of piggyback on that Brace has been a huge part of our relationship with you as well, in terms of where Coco Plan My Life would not be where we are without Akeem, because Akeem has helped design our whole brand and our website and everything that
even
you guys
conversationally wise, just
right
about,
being able to articulate a lot of where we are, where we want to go, has been further articulated in a way where we couldn't even like ask ourselves those kind of questions if it wasn't for Akeem. And so like all the beautiful social media stuff and our website and all that stuff, y'all, that's from Nile Studio.
Yeah.
Plug. But Akeem does more than just, what we call, he's a graphic designer. Like it's more than that. And really being able to like engage a business owner in a kind of mindset that is like a coach. Like Akeem acts as if like a coach to get us thinking in a way and in a kind of language of design and
that he was trained in, but still he like introduces us into that world. Yeah.
So sometimes you guys will hear us like on our post talking about like design thinking. We didn't even know what that word was until we met Akeem.
You didn't, but yeah.
You didn't know what that word was. What is thinking in design? But that's our influence, our brand, everything of what we have to deliver to our peeps was because of being in connection with Akeem. And so we feel like when we think of you, like we think of Brace too, like our relationship, our ability to be connected with you, who also connected us with your girlfriend, who helped us get the brand going for Militime Pot. Like there's so many.
Dope.
Shout out to what's her handle? Cassandra Hamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hamer.
Is it Hamer?
Hamer. Wait.
Is it Cassandra Dot Hamer?
Dang, don't.
Cassandra on purpose? No, listen. Okay.
Don't be the one.
Hey, full disclosure, I don't spend that much time on Instagram.
Yeah,
All
he
right,
don't even know her handle.
But shout out to you, Cassie.
Yeah. So
Cassie, doing your
Akeem
work.
connected us with Cassie, who's another designer who helped us then get Miller Time Podcast going with our brand on there too. So it just shows how big Brace is in terms of literally who you connect yourself with will elevate or either like push you way back.
Or bring you down for sure.
Bring you down.
Yeah.
And so we want to definitely exalt and magnify the brand of Nile Studio because what Akeem is really all about is being able to uplift Black businesses and to be able to bring Black businesses back into an area of interdependence on each other, not feeling like we can't trust each other or we are going to take advantage of each other or whatever, but being able to develop our own system, our interconnected system where we can depend on each other for business deals, for investment opportunities. Akeem is in so many things, y'all. Like he's into investment, he's into music, he's into designing. So he is a one-stop shop, and I just wanted to express how much you mean to us and how much you've helped Cocoa Plumber Life, and obviously everywhere that we go is directly tied to who we continue to surround ourselves with.
Absolutely.
And so I want all of you listeners to know that you need Akeem in your brace. You need Akeem in your dream team. You need Akeem.
Or even people who Akeem is attached to. 'Cause I think that's the big thing, is that Akeem has impacted Cocoa Plumber Life, which has impacted the Miller Time Podcast through his relationship, which impacts my work like that I do, which impacts what I communicate to other people about their brand, which impacts Courtney in her school and her whole thinking around design thinking. Like, it impacts everybody. And so even if you're not able to get your hands on Akeem, like, get your hands on somebody who has been touched by Akeem.
Touched by Akeem.
That's a brand right there.
Right, touched by Akeem.
So,
For sure.
How can
That's
people
funny.
get in touch with you, Akeem?
Yeah, people can get in touch with me. Actually, I mean, couple ways. First way is I'm on Instagram and Twitter at KeemNGI. That's KeemNGI. And yeah, just shoot me a DM and let me know what's on your mind, what's on your heart, what are you trying to do, what's your dream. And like Patrick and Courtney said, like if it's not me, then I can connect you to somebody who could just talk to you, give you a sense of what your next steps could be, or even who to surround yourself with. So that's the best way.
Word. Yeah. Cool. Well, King, I know you gotta go. We gotta get you out of here.
Yeah,
but
I gotta get to the city.
It's that time. So yeah. All right. Again, this is the Miller Time.
Before we even close, Akeem, can you leave our followers with like a challenge?
You're right. I was gonna come up with a challenge, but yeah,
No,
Keem,
he can leave it.
You're right. Keem gets Keem is thinking about that. I think this might be something we'll start to do, is we will give somebody the stamp of approval of the BSPF, and I would say definitely for sure Keem gets the brace.
He gets the stamp.
He gets the brace stamp for sure. Yeah. All right. So Keem, what would you give our people as a challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my challenge is for you to go out and find 3 people who you look up to, or 3 people who are doing something that you would like to get involved with, right? So if you want to do real estate investing, like go find somebody who's in real estate investment and ask them for a 20-minute chat. That's all. Just 20 minutes.
20-minute
invite
chat.
them out to coffee. Invite them out, buy lunch for them, and just come with a set of questions, 2 to 3 questions, about them, right? So like ask them about their experience, ask them about what you could do to get started, report back to Patrick and Courtney once you've done that, and they'll let me know. But yeah, find at least 3 people, to go ahead and connect yourself to, ask them questions that'll get you closer to your dream.
Right. I like that. Cool. Well, it's something we always say before we end our podcast. We like to remind our listeners that
we believe that you have the power to create your extraordinary life.
Yeah. Peace, y'all.
Later, y'all.